Good morning. Welcome again to my part 2 presentation. The same topic, data collection, data presentation. In my first part of the presentation, I did touch the data collection. So today, or in this session, I'm going specifically to deal with data presentation. So data collection, data presentation, data tabulation is one topic which is together, and they form the basis of one another, or they are supposed to be taught together. So even upon teaching data presentation, I'll also highlight something about data tabulation. So as we start, we're going to start by the definition terms, and we must understand what is a data presentation. So from your own language or from your own understanding, you also must be able to define data presentation in your own way. So with my definition, data presentation is the process of organizing and displaying data in a structured and understandable format. Underline structured and understandable format using text, tables, charts, or graph. Data presentation is the process of organizing and displaying data in a structured and understandable format using text, table, charts, and graphs. Now, what are the importance of data presentation? Importance of data presentation. Importance of data presentation. So, importance number one is data presentation helps to simplify complex data. It helps to simplify complex data. In short, it makes a bigger data or a complex data to be easier, to be simple. So it helps to simplify the complex data. Number two, it makes data easier to analyze. So presentation of data, when data is presented in text, table, charts, and graph, it makes it easier for the analysis and also by needing to understand. Next, it makes the data easier to understand and to be interpreted. Interpreting already presented data will be much easier than representing or interpreting the data which has not been presented. Then number four, it communicates finding effectively. So when you present data, this is part of the, how do I call it? Now data presentation, data collection, data analysis, these are the main component of statistics. Now you must collect the data, you must organize the data, you must interpret the data, and you must communicate the findings effectively. So you see, you can't communicate, you can't give a conclusion or inferences before the data is collected, before the data is organized, before the data is presented, before the data is interpreted. Actually, it is collection, organization, analyzation, presentation, then interpretation. So it's then after interpretation is when now you get what? The finding, inference, or conclusions. So meaning the presented data communicates the finding effectively, meaning your communication or your conclusion or inference will not be having faults. Then lastly, data presentation helps in understanding patterns, trends, and relationship in the data. We talk about patterns, for example, the movement of events. Trends, maybe how is the market trend? Is it a rising trend or a falling trend? Or relationship, what's the correlation between variable A and variable B? You can only get these elements only if you have a well-organized, presented data. So that will lead me to my second subtopic, which is types of data. That will lead me to my second subtopic, that is types of data. So we have two types of data. Number one, we have qualitative data. Qualitative comes from the word quality or categorical data. Then number two types of data, we have quantitative data. Qualitative data. And number two, we have quantitative data. Quantitative data. Now, with qualitative data, it refers to a data that describes quality, characteristics, or categories rather than numerical values. It refers to the data that describe qualities, characteristics, or categories rather than numerical values. Now, when you talk about quality, these are things that we can sense, we can feel. Perhaps there are things which cannot be tangible. For example, of qualities, let's say color. We can see color, red, blue, but we cannot touch color. Gender. We have only 2 categories of gender. We can only have a male or female. And I understand we also have transgender. Marital status, you either single or married. Meaning this data, they have categories. It's not an open data. If it is color, you must have specific. I'm having red, blue, indigo, violet. Meaning they have category of the colors. If it is gender, we have what? It can be either male or female. If it is marital status, it can either be married or single. If it's about education, either illiterate or non-illiterate, or learned or non-learned. So categorical data is data which having 2 outcomes, some 2 categories. There must be 2 or more categories. It can either be 2, 3, or 5, but as long as the category is there. So it's either you are male or female, it's either you are okay or not okay, it's either you are single or married. That's what we call what? Categorical data. Now number 2, we're going to talk about quantitative data. Quantitative data. Now quantitative data, let's say, it is a data that now deals with what? No, it's now a data that deals with the numerical values, now numbers. Qualitative data, let me add here, quantitative data, quantitative data are data which deals with numerical values, numerical values. Quantitative data are data which deals with what? Numerical values. So unlike the quantitative which deals with quality and what? Characteristics or categories. So now quantitative only deals with what? Numerical values. So this quantitative data, it is often divided into 2. It is often divided into 2 categories. So category 1 we have what? Category 1 we have nominal data. In category 2 we have ordinal data. I've already written them up there, but I'm trying to rewrite them for clarity. So now the categories of quantitative data we have 2: nominal data and ordinal data. Now let's say something about nominal data. Now nominal data, these are data with categories without a specific order. So like the data with their categories as in a specific order. For example, let's say we are doing a blood transfusion. We have a member or one of us who need blood donation. Yet, tukienda pale, akona maybe O ni A positive ama B plus. So there is no category of blood. Are we together? Now the blood, damu ni damu. The blood is a blood. So whether O positive or negative, the blood will always be what? Blood. So it doesn't have any categories. Unlike the ordinal, you must have the category. So with nominal data, these are data without categories or specific order. There is no order. Like this blood, you must transfuse it based on the blood group or the blood bank. So the way the blood it is, there is no category of blood, just blood. So we can't categorize blood into some types. It's just the blood, whether type A or type B or type C. It's just what? The blood. Now with the ordinal data, now these are data with categories, meaningful order. These are data that their categories have a meaningful order, meaning there must be an order. There must be an order. For example, an education. You are a student, so you lazima uanze wapi? Lazima uanze PP1. Then ingie primary school. Then ingie secondary school. Then ingie either to higher education or whatever. Let me say a college or a university. Then after that you can do your master's and do your PhD. Meaning you cannot do your PhD before you go into what? High school. You cannot go to college before you go into primary or high school. You must start with the primary, then go to the next level, high school, then to the college or to the university, then do your master's. So you see, with the ordinal there is category, there's meaningful order. Like you start from order 1, order 2, order 3, but with the nominal there is no order. Ya kwamba wenye iko tu kama ni blood, it is blood. So hope you're getting the difference between nominal data and ordinal data. Nominal data, these are data that have a specific order, which these are data without a specific order. Then ordinal data, these are category with what? Specific or meaningful what? Order. For example, education level, tuko na high school, tuko na primary, then high school, then bachelor's, then master's, then PhD, in that order. So there is no order. You can't jump one level, then you go to another level. You have to finish with the first level before you proceed to the second level. Then that will lead me to my second subtopic, and that is the core value, the core area where we are going to spend most of the time. Now this is the matter of data presentation, and I'm going to tackle it in my next session in a way that we'll do everything, each category by category, we'll draw graphs and we'll do presentation and everything. So here I'll just highlight them, then I'll finish with the other part. Then in my next presentation, I'm going to tackle this method of data presentation. Each singly, we'll do them, and each and every category will draw the graph, we'll plot whatever we are going to do until we make sure everything is well presented and well done. Now, under this method of data presentation, we have two. To tabular presentation. Now, when we talk about tabular presentation, now this tabular representation is now, it falls under data tabulation. Does not fall now under data what? Presentation. Now this is under data tabulation. And when we talk about data tabulation, we talk about frequency distribution tables and contingency table. Now also frequency distribution table, we will tackle it more in our topics, measure of central tendency, where we now how to prepare a frequency distribution table to calculate the mean, median, mode, and standard deviation. Then contingency table, also I think will be much covered in the probability, where we'll be taught probability, but I'll highlight them, I'll draw them so that you have a pre-exposure idea. Then number two, we're going to deal with what? Graph presentation. So we have tabular presentation, that is presenting data in form of a table form. Then graphical presentation, now it is presenting data in form of what? Graphical form. Now under graphical presentation, we'll have bar graphs, we'll have histogram, we'll have pie chart, we have line graph, and scatter plot, and so many more. So this is the core epicenter of data presentation. Bar graph, histogram, pie chart, line graph, scatter plot, we can talk about pictogram. There are a lot of so many data presentation forms that we'll discuss. So this I'm going to give its own time to discuss it so deeply that you may be able to understand each and every component and each and every element. Now, as I have highlighted that, I'll finish by the part of guidelines for effective data presentation. These are what you need, or these are guides that you need to follow while presenting data. So the guidelines for effective data presentation, now guideline number one is use clear title and table. For example, we are doing a time series data, maybe checking the trend of the sales. So indicate what's your title of the time series data you are drawing. Don't just draw a blank graph or without title or labels. Make sure you label all the axes, if it is X and Y axis. Make sure the scale is indicated well. Indicate the variables in the x-axis and the variable in the y-axis. Number two, avoid unnecessary decoration. Don't color your graph on your presentation. Don't repeat. Don't draw two major lines. Just draw a single line, no color, no any decoration. Number three, ensure accuracy and scale consistency. Make sure your scale is consistent. Like that consistency is what's going to give you a normal curve while drawing a graph. Then lastly, highlight key points or trend. So thank you for this part of my presentation. I'll take you to the part 3 of my presentation, that is method of data presentation, and we are going to tackle each and every one of these, and that will mark the end of this topic.